My family called my business a hobby. Now I own the $18.5 million mansion they wanted. I started my business in my mom's basement when I was 27. That's where everything began, surrounded by old Christmas decorations and the smell of mildew that never really went away no matter how many candles I burned. My family thought I was losing my mind. "Esther, when are you going to get a real job?" my older sister Monica would ask every single Sunday at dinner. She worked as a manager at a bank and never let anyone forget it. You can't sell clothes on the internet forever. That's not a career. It's not just clothes, I'd say, trying to keep my voice steady. It's AI-designed luxury wearables. We use artificial intelligence to create custom fashion pieces that adapt to. That sounds like a hobby, my dad would interrupt, not even looking up from his plate. A very expensive hobby. My younger brother Marcus would laugh. He was in medical school, and to my family, that made him basically a god. "Esther's playing dress-up in the basement," he'd joke. "Maybe when she grows up, she'll get a real job like the rest of us." The worst part? My mom would just sit there and say nothing. Her silence hurt more than their words. But I kept going. Every morning at 5, I'd wake up and work on my designs. I taught myself coding through YouTube videos and online courses. I spent my entire savings, $23,000, on inventory, a good camera, and a basic AI software license. I ate ramen noodles for 8 months straight. My company was called Luxe Intelligence. The concept was simple but revolutionary. Customers would answer questions about their style, body type, and preferences, and our AI would design custom clothing pieces just for them. Then we'd manufacture and ship them within 2 weeks. Nobody believed it would work. Nobody except me. The real breaking point came on my 30th birthday. My family threw me a party, at least, that's what they called it. Really, it was just another opportunity for them to remind me of my failures. We were at Monica's house. She just bought a beautiful 4-bedroom home in Buckhead with her husband. I was happy for her, I really was. But the way she showed it off that day made me feel like dirt. "This is the master bedroom," she said, walking me through her house like I was a tourist. We paid cash. No mortgage. That's what happens when you have a stable career. I smiled and nodded, but inside, I was screaming. Then came the cake. Everyone sang happy birthday, and when I blew out the candles, my dad asked what I'd wished for. "Probably wished for her little hobby to finally make some money," Marcus said, and everyone laughed. Everyone. My mom cut the cake and handed me a piece. "Sweetheart," she said softly, "your father and I have been talking. We think it's time you moved out and found a real job. You're 30 now. It's time to be realistic about your future." I looked around the room. Monica was smirking. Marcus was checking his phone. My dad was nodding in agreement. Even my aunts and uncles, who'd come to celebrate my birthday, were looking at me with pity. That's when I made my decision. I was done trying to make them understand. I was done seeking their approval. From that moment on, I would prove them all wrong, and I wouldn't say a single word about it until I'd succeeded. "You're right," I said quietly. "I'll think about it." But I was lying. I was going all in. I stopped going to family dinners after that. I told them I was busy job hunting, which made them happy. In reality, I was working 18-hour days to make Luxe Intelligence work. I moved out of my mom's basement and into a tiny studio apartment in East Atlanta. It cost me $800 a month, and I could barely afford it, but I needed my own space. I needed to breathe. My business was starting to gain traction, slowly but surely. I'd gotten my first 50 customers through Instagram ads, and they loved the products. The AI was learning and improving with each design. The reviews were incredible. But I needed investment to scale. I needed money to improve the AI, to hire manufacturers, to market properly. So I started pitching to investors. I got rejected 23 times. 23 different people told me my idea wouldn't work, that the market was too saturated, that I didn't have enough experience. On the 24th pitch, I met Sarah Chen. She was a venture capitalist who'd made her fortune in tech startups. She sat across from me in a coffee shop in Midtown, looked at my presentation on my beat-up laptop, and asked me one question. "Why are you so sure this will work?" I didn't hesitate. Because I've already proven it works on a small scale. I have customers who love it. I have an AI system that's getting smarter every day. All I need is the capital to scale it up. I'm not asking you to believe in a dream. I'm asking you to invest in something that's already working." She smiled. "How much do you need?" $250,000. She wrote me a check for $500,000. "I'm betting on you, Esther. Don't make me regret it." I didn't. With Sarah's investment, everything changed. I hired a small team, a developer, a fashion designer, and a marketing specialist. We moved into a tiny office space in Ponce City Market. Within 6 months, we had 1,000 customers. Within a year, we had 10,000. The AI was incredible now, creating designs that looked like they came from high-end fashion houses but were completely unique to each customer. Celebrities started noticing. A famous actress wore one of our pieces to a movie premiere. A popular musician posted about us on social media. Suddenly, we weren't just a small startup anymore. We were a brand. By the time I turned 32, Luxe Intelligence was valued at $45 million. We had offices in Atlanta, Los Angeles, and New York. We'd been featured in Vogue, Forbes, and TechCrunch. I was being called a visionary, a pioneer in AI fashion. But I didn't tell my family any of this. They still thought I was struggling with my hobby. They'd stopped asking about it, which was fine with me. I didn't need their validation anymore. The only person who knew the truth was Sarah. She'd become more than an investor, she was my mentor and my friend. "When are you going to tell them?" she asked me one day over lunch. "When the time is right," I said. "I want it to be perfect." There was a mansion in Buckhead that my family had been obsessed with for years. It was this massive, beautiful estate with 8 bedrooms, a pool, a tennis court, and a view of the city that took your breath away. It had been on the market for $18.5 million. My parents used to drive past it and dream. One day my dad would say, "When we win the lottery." Monica talked about it constantly. "If I ever get really rich," she'd say, "that's the house I'm buying." Marcus joked that he'd buy it once he became a famous surgeon. The house represented everything they wanted but couldn't have. It was the ultimate symbol of success in their minds. When I found out it was still for sale, I knew exactly what I had to do. I called the real estate agent. We toured the property. It was even more beautiful inside than I'd imagined. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, a chef's kitchen, a library, and a master suite that was bigger than my first apartment. "I'll take it," I said. "Would you like to make an offer?" the agent asked. "No. I'll pay the full asking price. Cash." Her eyes went wide. Cash. Cash. 3 weeks later the mansion was mine. I planned the reveal carefully. I sent my family formal invitations to a housewarming party at my new address. I didn't tell them it was the mansion. I just gave them the address and told them to dress nicely. The week before the party, Monica called me. "Esther, whose house is this? Did you finally get a real job? Are you house-sitting for someone rich?" "Just come," I said. "You'll see." The day of the party, I was nervous. I'd hired caterers, a bartender, and even a pianist. The house looked perfect, elegant and sophisticated, exactly how I'd always imagined it. My family arrived together, pulling up in my dad's old sedan. I watched from the window as they got out and stared at the mansion with confused expressions. Monica was the first to speak when I opened the door. "Esther, what is this? Who lives here?" I smiled. "I do." There was silence. Complete, absolute silence. "What do you mean you live here?" my dad asked. "This is the mansion. The $18 million mansion." $18.5 million, I corrected. "And yes, I know. I bought it." Marcus laughed, but it was a nervous laugh. "That's not funny, Esther. Whose house is this really?" I pulled out my phone and showed them the deed with my name on it. "It's mine. I bought it 3 weeks ago. Paid cash." My mom's hand went to her mouth. Monica's face turned red. Marcus just stared. "How?" Monica demanded. "How could you possibly afford this?" "My hobby," I said simply. "My little dress-up business in the basement." Turns out it wasn't a hobby after all. I led them through the house, showing them every room, every detail. They followed me in stunned silence, their faces a mixture of shock, disbelief, and something else, something that looked a lot like jealousy. We ended up in the living room, where I'd set up a presentation on a large screen. I'd prepared for this moment. Let me tell you about Luxe Intelligence, I began, clicking to the first slide showing our company logo. It's an AI-powered luxury fashion company that I founded 5 years ago. We now have 200 employees across 3 offices. Last year, we made $32 million in revenue. This year, we're projected to make $60 million. I showed them articles about the company, photos of celebrities wearing our designs, and screenshots of our social media following, over 2 million people. We've been featured in every major fashion magazine, I continued. We've won awards for innovation in AI and fashion. And in 2 months, we're opening our first physical store in Manhattan. Monica was the first to find her voice. Why didn't you tell us? I looked at her calmly. Tell you what? That my hobby was successful? Would you have believed me? Or would you have found some way to diminish it, just like you did every single Sunday for 3 years? Esther, that's not fair, my mom said softly. Isn't it? I turned to her. Mom, you told me to get a real job on my 30th birthday. Dad, you called my business an expensive hobby every chance you got. Marcus, you literally told people I was playing dress up in the basement. I looked at each of them. You made me feel worthless. You made me doubt myself every single day. And the worst part? You didn't even notice when I stopped coming around. You were all so convinced I was failing that you never bothered to ask if maybe, just maybe, I was succeeding. My dad cleared his throat. We were just worried about you. No, I said firmly. You were embarrassed by me. There's a difference. The tension in the room was thick enough to cut with a knife. The pianist was still playing softly in the background, creating the most bizarre soundtrack to this family confrontation. Monica stood up, her face flushed. So what, you bought this house just to rub it in our faces? To make us feel bad? No, I said. I bought this house because I could. Because I earned it. Because this house represents 5 years of work that you all dismissed as a waste of time. We were trying to protect you, my dad argued. The fashion industry is brutal. We didn't want to see you fail. But you never considered that I might succeed, I shot back. You never once asked to see what I was building. You never looked at my website. You never asked about my customers or my business plan. You just assumed I was failing because what I was doing didn't fit your definition of success. Marcus finally spoke up. This isn't fair, Esther. We're family. We're supposed to support each other. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Support? You want to talk about support? When I was eating ramen noodles and working 20-hour days, where were you? When I was taking risks and building something from nothing, where was your support? You never asked for help, my mom said quietly. I shouldn't have had to ask, I replied. You should have offered. You should have believed in me. But you didn't, and that's something I've had to accept. I walked to the window and looked out at the pool, glittering in the late afternoon sun. I didn't bring you here to hurt you. I brought you here so you could see the truth. This is what your hobby became. This is what happens when someone refuses to give up, even when their own family doesn't believe in them. They tried to apologize. All of them, one after another, offered their regrets and excuses. Monica said she was jealous of my freedom and took it out on me. Marcus admitted he felt competitive and wanted to be the successful one. My dad claimed he was just being practical, trying to protect me from disappointment. My mom cried and said she should have stood up for me, should have believed in me, should have been the mother I needed. I listened to all of it. I let them say their piece. But I didn't accept their apologies. I appreciate that you're sorry, I told them. But I need you to understand something. Your words hurt me deeply. Your lack of faith in me made me question everything about myself. There were nights when I almost gave up because I thought maybe you were right, maybe I was wasting my time. I paused, making sure they were all listening. But I didn't give up. And I didn't succeed because of you, I succeeded in spite of you. That's an important distinction. So what happens now? Monica asked. Are you cutting us off? No, I said. You're still my family. But our relationship is different now. You don't get to be part of my success story when you weren't willing to be part of my struggle. You don't get to celebrate with me when you spent years tearing me down. My dad looked hurt. That seems harsh. No, I corrected him. What was harsh was being mocked at my own birthday party. What was harsh was being told my dreams were worthless. This is just honest. The party ended awkwardly. My family left without eating the expensive catered food or enjoying the beautiful house. I watched them drive away in that old sedan, and I felt something I hadn't expected to feel. Relief. For 5 years, I'd carried their doubt around like a weight on my shoulders. I'd internalized their criticism and let it fuel me, sure, but it had also exhausted me. Now, finally, I could let it go. Sarah showed up an hour later, letting herself in with the key I'd given her. She found me sitting by the pool, drinking champagne straight from the bottle. "How'd it go?" she asked, sitting down next to me. "Exactly how I thought it would," I said. "They're shocked, hurt, and trying to apologize. But they still don't really get it." "Do you feel better?" I thought about it for a moment. "Yeah, I do. I don't need their approval anymore. I proved to myself that I could do it, and that's what matters." Sarah smiled and took the champagne bottle from me, taking a sip. "You know what the best revenge is? Living well." "No," she said. "Living well and not caring if they know about it. You've already won, Esther. You built something incredible. This house is just a symbol." She was right. The mansion was beautiful, but it wasn't what made me successful. My business was. My determination was. My refusal to give up was. In the months after the party, I threw myself even deeper into my work. Luxe Intelligence opened its Manhattan flagship store to massive crowds. We launched a men's line that sold out in 3 days. We partnered with a major tech company to improve our AI even further. My family reached out occasionally. Monica sent texts asking how I was doing. Marcus called once to tell me about a patient who was wearing one of our designs. My mom sent cards with generic messages about being proud of me. I responded politely but distantly. They were family, and I wouldn't cut them off completely, but I also wouldn't pretend that everything was fine. Some wounds don't heal just because someone says they're sorry. My dad was the only one who seemed to truly understand. He showed up at my office one day, unannounced, holding a newspaper with an article about Luxe Intelligence. "I read this on the train," he said, sitting across from my desk. "You're on the cover of the business section." "I know," I said. "They interviewed me last month." He nodded, looking uncomfortable. "I was wrong, Esther. Not just about your business, but about how I treated you. I let my fear make me cruel, and that's something I have to live with." I didn't say anything. I just waited. "I don't expect you to forgive me," he continued, "but I want you to know that I'm proud of you. Not because you're rich now, but because you had the courage to believe in yourself when no one else did. That takes real strength." It was the most genuine thing he'd ever said to me. "Thank you," I said quietly. He stood up to leave, then paused at the door. "Your mother and I drive past your house sometimes. We don't stop or anything. We just look at it and think about how we almost destroyed the person who achieved the dream we only talked about." After he left, I sat at my desk for a long time, thinking about forgiveness and family and success. I realized that I didn't need to forgive them, not yet. Maybe not ever. But I could move forward without anger, and that was enough. A year after I bought the mansion, Luxe Intelligence was valued at $200 million. We had expanded internationally, with offices in London, Paris, and Tokyo. I'd been featured on the cover of Time magazine as one of the most innovative entrepreneurs under 35. I threw a party at the mansion, a real party this time, not a revenge reveal. I invited my team, my investors, my friends, and yes, my family. They came, all of them, dressed in clothes I suspected they'd bought just for the occasion. They were quiet and polite, staying mostly to themselves in the corner of the garden where the party was being held. I didn't go out of my way to talk to them, but I didn't avoid them either. They were just there, part of the crowd, no more or less important than anyone else. At one point, I overheard Monica talking to one of my employees. "I'm Esther's sister," she was saying. "I always knew she'd be successful. Even when she was starting out, I could tell she had something special. I almost laughed. Almost. But instead, I just walked past her to give a speech to my guests. Thank you all for being here, I said, standing on the terrace overlooking the pool and the city beyond. 5 years ago, I started Luxe Intelligence in a basement with nothing but an idea and a laptop. I was told it wouldn't work. I was told it was a hobby, a waste of time, a pipe dream. I looked at my family in the crowd. They were all staring at me with various expressions: pride, regret, discomfort. But I didn't build this company to prove anyone wrong, I continued. I built it because I believed in it. And that's the lesson I want to share with all of you tonight. The only validation you need is your own. The only approval that matters is the approval you give yourself. The crowd applauded. Sarah raised her glass to me. My team cheered. And my family? They clapped politely, and that was enough. I didn't need their enthusiasm. I didn't need their validation. I had already won. I still live in the mansion. Every morning, I wake up in that enormous master bedroom, look out at the view of Atlanta, and remember where I started. The basement. The doubt. The ramen noodles. The rejection. And then I remember what I built. Not just a company, but a life on my own terms. My family and I have a cordial relationship now. We see each other on holidays. They ask about the business, and I give them brief updates. They tell me about their lives, and I listen politely. We'll never be close the way some families are, and I've made peace with that. Monica is still jealous, though she hides it better now. Marcus occasionally asks for business advice, which I find ironic. My mom and dad seem smaller somehow, less imposing than they used to be. They're just regular people who made mistakes, and I've learned to see them that way. Last week, I drove past my mom's house, the house with the basement where I started everything. I slowed down and looked at it for a minute, remembering the girl I used to be. The girl who worked 18-hour days and ate ramen and refused to give up. I'm proud of that girl. She deserved better from her family, but she didn't need them to succeed. She had everything she needed inside herself: determination, vision, and the courage to keep going when everyone said to stop. Luxe Intelligence is now valued at over $500 million. We're planning an IPO next year. I've been approached by major fashion houses wanting to partner with us. I've been offered book deals, speaking engagements, and advisory positions. But the thing I'm most proud of isn't the money or the mansion or the success. It's the fact that I did it my way. I didn't compromise. I didn't settle. I didn't let anyone else define what was possible for me. Every time I pull into the driveway of that $18.5 million mansion, I smile. Not because I'm rubbing it in anyone's face, but because it represents something important. It represents the distance between who I was and who I became. It represents every risk I took and every doubt I ignored. My family called my business a hobby. They laughed at my dreams and dismissed my ambitions. They thought they were being realistic, but really, they were being small-minded. And now? Now I own the mansion they only dreamed about. I built the empire they said was impossible. I achieved the success they couldn't imagine. I don't need their apology anymore. I don't need their pride or their validation. I have something better. I have the satisfaction of knowing I was right all along. And that, more than anything else, is the sweetest revenge of all. Please like, comment, and share. If this is your first time watching my video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you'll be notified whenever I post a new story.